You're listening to The Imprint, where we discuss the mistakes, success, and advice of designers by designers. This is your host, Tommy.
Let's do it.
What's going on, guys? Thank you for tuning in to another episode of The Imprint. I have with me my official co-host, Dominique Prescott.
What's going on?
So I guess, guys, we've been here for a while like this. Y'all don't understand the behind-the-scenes things that have been going on before we could even get to this point. But so for that reason, we're just going to go ahead and jump right into things. Today's episode is going to be about the process of making a logo. It's so much you can say about making a logo, and a lot of people just think it's as simple as going and getting clip art. Some people think it's just as simple as going to like Fiverr and all this good stuff, and it's so much more than that. I haven't told you this, but I've heard somebody getting into some trouble with some Fiverr logos.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Let me guess. Let me take a wild guess. Someone was reusing logos.
Oh yeah, the designer was charging them of like a real low fee and was giving everybody the same logo. And that defeats the purpose of a logo, because the logo is supposed to be pretty much your fingerprint. It's supposed to be the face of your brand. Like, nobody's supposed to have the same logo as you.
I bet he thought he was smart though. But can you think of having like a really strong logo and just thinking like, oh, I can copy and paste this junk like for $5
Exactly.
And all I gotta do is send you the file and change the title.
Right.
I'm doing it. If it wasn't illegal,
Exactly.
I'm doing it. I'm doing it.
Right. I don't blame the designer, because I mean, nobody is going to do something.
He was trolling though.
Oh yeah, most definitely. Because they were sued. Well, not sued. I guess the lawyers actually reached out and asked them to stop using it, and they noticed that it was more than one person that had that same logo, and it's all from the same designer. So guys,
so he probably did like a decently sized business that way.
Yeah.
Well, if
so.
that business had money for lawyers, they should have had money for decent branding. Just saying.
We're not even going to talk about that. Because you know we can go on and on and on about that. Mm-hmm. So my first step in creating a logo is definitely research. I know for me personally, if I see that you have a clothing line, I'm definitely going to look at your competitors, see who's in the same area as you, that same city, same town, whatever the case might be. I'm definitely going to look and kind of compare the two, see what I like about theirs, what I don't like about theirs, and see how to get yours that next step further, so that yours won't just fade into the background of logos and businesses in your area. I don't want to take up all the...
I'm listening.
Just jump in whenever you feel.
So I do have a question, because I think every designer's process is different. Mm-hmm. Do you sketch first?
I do.
Okay.
Because sketching isn't my strong suit, but I do conceptualize there.
Yeah.
So, and I would definitely suggest any other designer to sketch as well, because it all can't be on computers. I mean, if you're more comfortable sketching, then definitely do that. If not, still sketch. I mean, just work on it, because you can get that done a lot faster than sitting there on the computer and trying to put all that good stuff together. Right. And then you've kind of not wasted time, but I mean, it's time that could have been used elsewhere.
I mean, even if logos aren't going to be stick figures, but just a couple of simple shapes.
Right.
Because to me, a blank sheet of paper is amazing, but a blank artboard in Illustrator scares the crap out of me. If I don't have a plan. If I have to have a sketch that I'm looking over. Maybe because it's out of habit. But if I see like a blank artboard and I'm starting from scratch, I don't know what I'm getting into. Right. Yeah, I'm like, I don't.
Yeah, I mean, and to me, it's I'm pretty comfortable with both.
Yeah.
I'm not, like I said, I'm not going to do a whole bunch of sketching. I like kind of do some stuff and like kind of place this here and place that there. I'm like, it don't look right now, but when I get on this computer, I'm going to put it together. But
so when you do your research, do you send your client what you found, or do you keep that to yourself?
It depends. I'm actually working on adding another step for clients that want to go that route because, people's budgets are different.
Yeah.
Doing discovery, and that's another offer I'm going to be offering my clients. Just finding out, they can look into it and see who their competitors are, but then again, they may not even know that that's a step they should take. So just kind of looking at that and then looking at other factors as to why they're branding, who's their target audience. So I'm adding that step, doing a discovery session based on if the client can afford that. And it's definitely valuable, but it's definitely worth knowing, but a lot of people don't have the budget for that. So if you just tell me I want a logo, whatever, I can do that. But if you're saying, okay, I want a logo, but I want my design and I want my logo and my brand to make sense. I told somebody that a lot of times people just kind of jump the gun and just start doing things and not really have a goal.
Yeah.
So the discovery session would be, okay, what is your goal for your brand? And let's make sure that everything aligns with that and everything meets that goal that you have for your business.
I hope to get to a point too where the pricing that I'm giving for logos isn't just the logo. Like, right. I want to have a price that you feel comfortable paying, but that, the customer always varies. And I feel comfortable giving you the logo as well as brand guidelines. Like, I feel like brand guidelines are so important because you want to make sure that your brand is cohesive everywhere.
Exactly.
It doesn't matter what you're doing. You can have great product, great work, great speaking, whatever you want to do. But if you have a poster here that looks completely different from the same poster that came from you, it's going to affect how people take you in.
Right.
And I think because it's so inconsistent, people don't know what to expect from you.
Exactly.
So it's kind of like, I don't know, it's one of those things that you have to try to educate people on, but sometimes they understand it, sometimes they don't.
And like I said, I'm trying to kind of leveling up my business, and I want my clients to level up as well, and I'm kind of positioning myself so that I can better serve those clients with the budget and actually kind of take their brand seriously and can't really afford to just put or throw anything up. A short story I'm going to share. I went uptown to I had something to do uptown. I forgot exactly what it was, but I went to go park, and the parking meter had a certain logo on it, and it was like, you can go to the app store and pay, I guess, with your card or something like that. Being that I only had my card, so I couldn't pay there with it. So I went on the app store and looked for that same logo, and I saw nothing that looked anything similar to that. So, some consumers have to, some business owners have to step back and look at that. You have to look at it from a consumer perspective and be like, okay, so if they're looking for my logo and it looks one way here, and then I just liked,
I'm gonna think it's spam.
Exactly. I like the way something else looked. Say I'm really going fast today. The designer presented you with two logos, and I know some people who've done this. I like both of these designs. I want to buy both of them. Okay, no, you don't need to do that because
that's going to confuse.
Exactly. Now, there's a difference between a logo and then a secondary logo. Now, you can do that.
Yeah, but secondary logos are usually a sister to...
Exactly. It looks the same and the same color, the same, all that good stuff. So I was thrown off, and you don't want your clients to be thrown off when they go looking for you and a logo on your business card looks different from the logo on your website. So yeah, that's a little short story. The second thing, my second step that I usually try to do is I try not to do what's expected when it comes to a logo. Going back to when I was saying earlier, if you're doing a logo for a shoe company, you don't have to put a shoe in there in the logo.
Don't put a shoe in there.
You don't have to put a shoe in your logo because you got
a shoe in there. Company. Don't even put shoelaces in it.
It doesn't have, and to be honest, for a designer, that's kind of amateur. Like, that's kind of...
It's because that's the first thing you think of.
Exactly.
That is the first thing you think of when you think of a shoe company. Oh, a shoe.
Right.
I'm going to put a shoe on known.
You don't see Nike with shoes in there. You don't see Adidas. Like
pay less.
You just kind of have to pay attention to that stuff, right? You just kind of have to pay attention to that stuff, because if you don't see it being done like these bigger retailers or bigger of whatever in your industry, you just have to look at that and be like, okay, if they're not doing it, then I may not need to do that for my branding, right, if they're not doing it. And you kind of have to just look at them and model your business, not like theirs, but model it as far as looking and perception like theirs. Because when we go out and we want to go shopping, how do we know what's in? How do we know what styles we like? Because we've looked at magazines, we've looked at other people in the industry. So we pretty much base our style off of what's in and all that good stuff. So it's the same way with branding. It's the same exact way. So just don't, guys, please, if you are a business owner, don't let your designer give you a piece of fried chicken because you got a restaurant in your logo.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Just, yeah, because, I mean, I hear it all. Like, can we put a plate in there? I hear it all.
You don't have to, though. Like,
yeah,
let it speak for itself. You're making your customers, like, you're thinking that your customers are dumb. Right. They're just as smart as you are. Exactly. You don't have to put a plate up there for them to know that this is a restaurant. Right.
And I had a client, he was asking me about putting a plate or something in the logo. Well, how are they going to know it's a restaurant? Well, you kind of want to, and like how you said, people aren't crazy and people aren't stupid. And then two, this is just my preference. When it comes to a logo, I don't want people to actually know exactly what it is right off the bat. You kind of want them to be curious and want them to you want to kind of lure them in. So you don't want to, they got a plate or they got some chicken in their logo. So we know what that is. So you just kind of want to just pique somebody's interest and things like that. So please don't be as literal. Don't do what's expected when it comes to a logo. 2, customize. I'm sorry, 3, customize. I promise y'all, I can count. I promise you. Like,
he can't
in real life, I can count.
Don't let him fool you. He can design, please.
He wasn't supposed to tell nobody that. Sorry. No, I'm just playing. But customize. I do a lot of font-based logos. Dominique is the illustrator.
I'm actually trying to get better at doing font-based.
Really?
Well, I'm trying to force myself to do more font-based.
Dominique is more so the illustrator. I'm more so of a font-based logo designer. And an important, and believe it or not, a lot of people don't use it, but it is important when you're doing a logo to do it in Illustrator. And when I say that, I'm saying that because Illustrator is for logo design and
that's
illustrations.
What it's made for.
Please don't be out here in these design streets in Photoshop. And I'm really not trying to bash anybody. I'm really not.
Sometimes you do what you got to do, and especially if you don't know any better.
Right.
Because I did logos in Photoshop before when I first started and didn't know any better.
Exactly.
But now you know. If you're listening to this, you know now. You have no excuse.
And the reason I like Illustrator, besides that's what you're supposed to use for logos, you have a lot of freedom and you have a lot of control.
It's very precise.
Exactly. And I know me, for one, I'll pick a font, and I'll pick a font that has potential, but I don't exactly like it per se. And I'll, like I said, customize it, because I'll take off this tail, or I'll take off the way this kind of curves here. Like, you just kind of want to make it your own. And then for my designers, that's when you can actually charge more, because you've pretty much touched every piece of your design. And I have a friend that I tell that to a lot. I'm like, you want to touch every bit of your design when it comes to a logo. Like, I want to make it look so, even though it's probably a logo that's already been created, it's going to be my own by the time I get done with it.
Yeah.
So you want to make sure you touch every bit of it, and you can charge more. Like, even with the like I said, the tails earlier, and the tails of like the letter and like the different all the terminology is confusing me. Well, not confusing me, but I'm losing it right now. But
don't ask me. I know there's a stem, the tail, the base.
Yeah, all that good stuff. I pretty much alter it or do whatever to make it fit into my idea of whatever I want the logo to look like. And also kerning. I mean, kerning can make, even though it's so small.
Oh my gosh. Listen, like kerning is so important.
It is.
Through the time that I've been working, that I've started to realize how important kerning is. And I was just looking at something the other day that had an O and an L too close together. And when I